and in-betweens. I'm Valerie and welcome to my channel, The Bookish Valkyrie. So today's video is a last-minute roundup of all of the Christmas books that I have been reading and want to read and recommend that you read, and just the general last-minute push for some holiday cheer. So the series that I have been reading recently is Christmas Falls seasons 1 and 2. So last year, several romance writers got together and wrote 9 different books, each by a different author, set in the same town at the same time. They are set in a town called Christmas Falls, and it is like the most Christmassy Christmas town to ever Christmas. And it's wonderful and cheery, and there is a massive snowstorm that impacts all of the stories to varying degrees. It is a good time. They are very well woven together, so you will see cameos from characters from the other books throughout all of the books, and have events that are taking place in all of the books, and you kind of like know what's happening in the background of each book as you make your way through the first season. And then the second season is 10 books long, again, all different authors, and the kind of background issue that's happening is the local pet shelter has had a flood and is in need of a lot of help. So you have a bunch of fostered animals throughout. So if you really love some furry companions with your Christmas cheer, then the second season is where it's at. So first season is kind of like all snowed in. Second season is furry companions. There's a whole lot of grumpy sunshine happening. There's a lot of grief throughout, threaded throughout these stories. And I think that is warranted because I think the holidays is when a lot of grief for people comes up, because it is such a family and friends and togetherness centric time of year, and so it's when you miss people the most. So I definitely say if you have a need for trigger warnings around grief, be aware there is a ton of grief peppered throughout both season 1 and 2, although season 2 seems to be a bit heavier on the grief. Although in at least 2 of the books, the grief is over the same person, because it's a small town, it's complicated. I have read all of season 1, and I have read about half of season 2. I'm almost to the end of the 5th book, and I have 5 more books to go before I get through to the end of season 2. And then I also happened to sign up for DJ Jameson's Christmas card thing, where she sends out Christmas cards to anybody who signs up for it. And this year her Christmas card is Greetings from Christmas Falls, which is wonderful. And this is the same map, only in color, that you'll see at the beginning of all of the Christmas Falls books, seasons 1 and 2. This was a great little thing to receive in the mail, since I was already finishing up the first season and starting in on the second season. So it was just a fun little meta moment that I had a really great time with. Very cute set of books. I've very much been enjoying them, and I will probably talk about them more in depth in my December wrap-up. On to Make the Season Bright, which I also read recently. I talked about this in my last video, and it is really cute. Like, I was a little concerned that I wasn't going to like it because I have 3 other books by this author. This is written by Ashley Herring Blake, and I have her trilogy, which is escaping my mind, so I'll put it right here. And I have that trilogy and I want to read it, and I'm so glad that I enjoyed this book, because I was afraid that if I didn't like this book, I would have to maybe sell that trilogy before I even read it, because no one has time for books that don't work for you. But anyhow, this book did work for me. It's definitely a second chance romance, which I am finding is maybe a harder sell for me than it is for a lot of people. I thought that I liked second chance romance, and there are definitely second chance romances out there that I love, but I'm beginning to think after reading this and on top of some other second chance romance throughout this year that maybe that's just not the trope for me. Because this was really well written. It was cute. I liked the characters, but I just didn't like super connect with it. I did enjoy it enough that I am still going to read the other books by Ashleen Herring Blake, because this definitely gave me a good taste of her writing style, and I do enjoy that quite a lot. So basically, this is a second chance romance between two musicians. If you do like the second chance romance, if you do like the childhood best friends to lovers to exes kind of, back to lovers kind of thing, second chance romance, that's basically what this is. So there's a lot of silly Christmas shenanigans layered in with the romance and the very like serious kind of situations between these two that led to them parting ways and coming back together. And basically they needed some time to grow into themselves and figure themselves out before they were ready to be together. And they maybe could have got through not breaking up, but I think that the breakup was warranted and called for. So it wasn't one of those second chance romances that like are frustrating because why did they break up in the first place? Why haven't they been together this whole time? It's not that case with this. I really do recommend this for anybody who likes second chance romance. And then I am actually in the middle of reading The Nightmare Before Christmas, but I am loving it. I've got through about 2/3 of it, and I have another third to go, and I am really enjoying the dynamics between Cole and Hex, and I am really enjoying the whole holidays royalties setup. This is very much what I would consider like a paranormal romance, but make it holiday oriented. Because there is definitely magic, there is definitely a world of power dynamics and politics that are set up in the holiday background away from regular people, normal people. There's definitely magic, and it's a fun, goofy, good time. There's also a lot of very serious, like familial and political machinations happening in the plot of this, so it's not like fully fluff. I think it's a fun mix of fluff and serious, so I guess it just depends on what you're looking for in a holiday book, whether or not I would say you should pick this up, and I'll give you my thoughts on that more once I've finished it in the wrap up. Now, I held this up last year, and I still have not got to it, and I still don't know if I'll get to it because it is a week until Christmas. It's Wednesday, so next Wednesday is Christmas, and I just don't know if I'm going to make it through all of the Christmas Falls books and something else. And then I don't even know if I want to continue reading new books or if I want to read some comfort books, some comfort rereads, if I do get through all of Christmas Falls. So this one may have to sit on my shelf for another year before I get to it, but it is this is a series of short stories with queer Afro-Latin influences, and I really, really, really want to get to it. It's got Adriana Herrera, Alexis Daria, Diana Munoz-Duert, Mia Sosa, Priscilla Oliveras, Sabrina Soul, and Zoe Castile. And I'm sorry if I butchered anybody's names. Feel free to let me know how I was supposed to say them. But I am very much interested in getting to this book. I also have it in ebook format, so I can read that when this gets too heavy for me and my funny little fingers. But like, I mean, it's got cute little holiday doodads in the chapter headings. The cover just screams holiday joy and togetherness, and I just really want to get to this, but again, I don't know that I will get to it this year. All of my holiday plans kind of got derailed when I saw that there was a second season for Christmas Falls, and I decided that I needed to read all of the first season because I only read the first book in the first season last year. And I decided I needed to read both seasons, and I needed to read them this year. So that's how that happened. I am the most chaotic reader, I think, that I know. And then another one that I would love to get to, but again, I don't know if I'll get to it this year, is A Merry Little Meet Cute. I also have this in audiobook, so I can definitely read this tandemly. I may get to this because of the audiobook. Right now I am reading The Nightmare Before Christmas in tandem, but I'm also reading Dungeon Crawler Carl on audiobook, so I don't know if I think I can manage another Christmas audiobook, this may be where I go. So from what I understand with this book, both of our main characters are bisexual, and I believe she is a cam girl and he is a former boy band member, and he's got kind of a bad boy rep that he's trying to rehab, and so they find themselves cast opposite each other in a holiday Hallmark-esque movie, and so she needs to keep her cam girl time under wraps, and he knows because he's like her biggest fan, and so they have this secret to keep with each other, and they are, I believe, trying to keep their hands off each other. I'm not positive. Honestly, I saw that it was a bisexual romance between two bisexuals, and that it was by Sierra Simone and Julie Murphy, and I just went, yeah, I want to read that. So I am like three books behind on this. I believe there is two books that have come out in the last 2 years after this, so I need to catch up. I have one more set of books that I have not read yet that I'm interested in getting to, but again, don't think I'm gonna get there. That is Just for the Holidays by Adriana Herrera. This is the first book in the Zambrano Studios novels. I am not sure what even this story is anymore. It's been so long since I picked it up that I don't even know what it's about, really. I think there's some sort of inheritance thing and some sort of rivalry. I vaguely kind of remember that, but it's Adriana Herrera, and I will read any and all things by Adriana Herrera. And actually, speaking of Adriana Herrera and books by her that I haven't got to, there is actually a third book in her Toy Runner series that I have not got to yet, and that is called Run Darling. Again, I really don't know anything about it except for what the first two books were, and those were great fun, so I am happy and willing to walk into those blind. And then I picked up this from a Pangobooks storefront. It is not one that I know anything about, really. I picked it up because it was a holiday romance by an indie author that I hadn't heard of, and it was, I think, like $5 from a store that I was already buying books from. So I believe this is a Grumpy Sunshine Snowed-In romance, and we'll see if I get around to it. It does have really big space, lots of negative space, so it might be a very quick read. So maybe I might get to this year. If not, I definitely have something for our next Christmas season. Anyhow, let's continue on. If I do end up going with a comfort reread, I have a few options. One of my current favorites is The Geek Who Saved Christmas. Again, Grumpy Sunshine, holly and not so jolly kind of romance. This is two guys who are a bit older. I believe they're in their 30s or 40s. And one of them is the king of Christmas. He loves everything Christmas. And the other one is grumpy and just wants to go about his business and be undisturbed by everybody else's jolly good time. They find themselves thrown together and having to come together to help with a local project. And then on top of that, the grumpy neighbor who raised his brother finds out that his brother is coming home for the holidays, and so he and his brother is looking forward to a cheery Christmas, and so he doesn't want to disappoint him, and so he turns to his very cheery neighbor to help him add all the trimmings to his house and help him figure out how to give his brother a Merry Christmas. And yeah, so good time. I love it. I've read this like 3 times now, and I still, my brain manages to lose all the details. But I do remember how I felt reading it, and I would love to reread it again. No holiday recommendation video from me would be complete without some Rowan Parrish recommendations. So these first 2 books are from Garnet Run, and this is actually placed in the same town. However, these were, I believe, indie at first and later on got picked up by Karina. And this one was traditionally published. So that's why they're very different formats, but they're great. It's another small town situation where people really come together to help others through the holidays. In Better Than People, one of our main characters is an author for children's books, and he prefers animals to people. He has several pets, and he finds himself in need of a dog walker and like general animal corraler when he breaks his leg. And the person who ends up being hired to help him take care of his animals is, I want to say that he is autistic coded, but I do believe that Rowan Parrish didn't necessarily code him that way. She just wrote him, but then she did later on, after writing this book, find out that she's autistic. And so I think a lot of that comes through in his character. And basically he's not great with people, and they kind of start figuring out how to communicate with each other in a way that leads to romance. And it's very sweet, very cute if you if you have a hard time with people, but you still like want a cozy romance. This is probably a great one for you. And then in Best Laid Plans, we actually are following the brother of the guy who broke his leg, and he owns a local hardware store. And he finds himself helping, hiring and helping out with a new guy in town who just inherited his grandpa's house that is a disaster and no human should live in. So he helps him make it safe and livable, and helps him to build it, and ultimately build it into something more than just a home. I won't say what, because spoilers, although honestly if you read this you'll know pretty quick what this house is going to turn out to be. And it is sweet and like very hurt comfort, sweet holiday kind of a romance. Now, with both of these, I don't even know if they are generally marketed as holiday romances, but they do both kind of circle around the holidays and culminate during the holidays. So I consider them holiday romances, but you may not find them like, traditionally listed under a holiday romance. Now this one is definitely a holiday romance, as you can see from the cover. And again, one of our main characters is very autism coded. He also has some trauma that makes it difficult for him to be around people, where our other guy is new to town, and he's there with his daughter after a divorce, and he is wanting to help her through this first holiday without her other daddy, in order to try and make her wish come true. He is working on getting them the most lights ever on their house. It is a great romance. Even if you are not a big fan of children in romance, I think you may really enjoy this, because the child in this is not just like set dressings. She is a really full-fledged individual. She's charming and sassy and they have to work around her in their romance, and I think that it's very realistic and sweet, and I really love this book. I've read this several times as well, and I just love everything Roan Parrish writes. I just can't get enough Roan Parrish. So those are some books that I absolutely recommend, some books that I hope are good, and some books that weren't for me but might be for you. I think that is it for me today, and if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and let me know in the comments what your favorite Christmas romances are, or if you don't like Christmas romances, what is your preferred reading during the holidays. If you don't want to say anything in the comments, then just leave me a tree emoji. It can be a Christmas tree or not, whatever floats your boat, and just let me know that you were here. And thanks for watching, and see you next video. Stars shining bright above me. Night breezes seem to whisper that sycamore tree. Dream a little dreamer. Hello to my kings, queens. Thor. So, buttons, things, and nonsense. Already, when I for Christmas falls, so it was just stop. My gremlins, my little puppies who think they are gremlins. Oh my gosh! And he is a Oberon. Come here. So anyhow, our baker is a cherry Oberon. So Thor. Oh my gosh. Our is a cherry sunshiny bear of a guy. Sit. Yeah, I love you too, but you guys really need to shush and shush. No more of this nonsense, huh? Just shush. Main characters are our main characters are neighbors. It's very much a grumpy sunshine, which I think is very common for So school bus. It's the third one. This is a small town. Why are there so many school buses?